As we sit here and for the last few days, occupied Gaza had been shelled, been shot, and now they are saying that they are preparing for ground war. All of this is happening, and the leaders of the free world are saying, calling to stop fire. But they are addressing these sentences to the people under subjugation in Gaza, to the people hungry and starved by an illegal blockade in Gaza. They are addressing this to the occupied people of Gaza. They are addressing this to the refugees who went out of their homes, because 80% of the Gazan population are already refugees from other places of Palestine. And they are saying, for example, the spokesperson of the German government is saying that those responsible for the violence in Gaza should stop shelling Israel. And the Egyptian government should use its power to make those stop throwing rockets at Israel, because it causes massive civilian injuries. Even better is the position by the leader of the free world, the liberal and the leader of the Democratic Party and the President of the United States of America, Obama. He says that it is the right of Israel, Israel has the right to self-defense. From his perspective, of course, the colonizer has the right to self-defense. The colonizer has the right to defend themselves against those who they occupy. We say, we revolutionaries, we the masses in the Arab world, we the workers of the world, we say that actually Palestinians do have unconditional right to defend themselves. This is where the right lays. It's the right of the oppressed, it's the right of those under occupation. But here also the position of Obama shows us and explains a rather awkward position that the Egyptian government, the Muslim Brothers now, for example, have themselves in. They are trying to make good noises about what's happening in Gaza. We are going to stand with Gaza. Even the Prime Minister today went to Gaza being shelled. Of course, Israel stopped it a bit as long as he was there. They talked about it before he went. But on the other hand, the fact that the government that we have now are integral and part and actually agreed to be part of the American and imperialist strategy in the region actually stops them from having any leeway in having serious and real solidarity with the Palestinian people against Israel. All what they can do, all what they will be able to do is make more and more noises, while we know that they are trying to reach a truce between the belligerents. That's the terms they are using. But they are under incredible pressure from below, because the solidarity with the Palestinian people has been an integral part of the Arab Revolution in general. It has been actually one of the catalysts of the revolution. The positions that had been taken by Hosni Mubarak and the like. One of the main events that caused a radical consciousness or a radical shift in the awareness of a whole generation was the Intifada, the second Intifada in 2000, and the incredible solidarity movement with it in Egypt. And then there were later developments. So our government are between the people who are expecting them to show some solidarity, real solidarity, help the Palestinian people, and the Americans and the Israelis, who they, as Muslim brothers, had or have been trying to have their own peace with them. For example, today the Haniya, the leader of Hamas in Gaza, asked the Egyptian president to open the Rafah entry point for the transfer, for the movement of people and the transfer of goods. So it hits you that actually the Muslim Brothers, since they came to power 4 months ago, they haven't opened the Rafah entry point. They are colluding actively, actually, they are in partnership in starving the Gazan people. And now today, of course, the Prime Minister goes there and so on and says, we stand with Gaza. But the solidarity with the Palestinians, the resistance of the Palestinians to occupation and to exploitation is an integral part of the revolution. And it gives effervescence to the revolution. And of course, the revolution gives it more energy. So for example, in Syria, we have demonstrations in Syria where the revolutionaries themselves in all the places of Syria, in the so-called freed towns, 80% of Syria now is free of Assad's army. So in those freed places, there were, of course, demonstrations for Gaza, and in other places as well. And one of the things that hit me most was by a child in a demonstration in Gaza, in Homs, that is not yet free from the Assad regime. And it said, after we free occupied Homs, we will free occupied Gaza. This is how they see the collusion between our ruling classes, however, whatever noises they make. Of course, you know the noises that Assad dynasty had been making about being the enemy of Israel. On the contrary, actually, inside the Syrian revolution, the Assad regime, had bombed and shelled the Palestinian camps inside Syria. And this is because the Palestinians, being the revolutionaries that we had looked up to for years on end, they sided with the revolutionary resistance to Bashar al-Assad. So, and actually in one of the ironies of history, when Bashar al-Assad in last July, started bombing some of the working class neighborhoods of the capital of Damascus, those people, those Syrian working class Syrians from Damascus ran away, fled for their lives, and sought refuge among the Palestinians in a Palestinian refugee camp around Damascus. But still, the more irony is that they were never safe there because they got shelled there among their fellow and comrades, Palestinians. But the revolution in Syria is, from my perspective, getting stronger and stronger. And in that sense, the Palestinians under occupation are getting stronger allies. For example, and this is nothing to sniff at last there is an uprising in Jordan. Jordan, for the last 1.5 years, had been looked upon as if a haven outside the Arab Revolution. The Arab Revolution hasn't reached there. On the 14th of this month, a couple of days ago, that most magnificent of slogans was raised in Amman. The people want to bring down the regime. الشعب يريد إسقاط النظام. It at last reached Jordan. And in the last few days, you see and you hear the chants of the Jordanian masses against their mukhabarat, against their intelligence agencies and oppression, against the king, and that's almost the first time in history, and against the security forces, and with Gaza at the same time. But also, we can see something extremely magnificent. Then, that on the night when Israel escalated their attack, on the night when the Arab Revolution erupted in Jordan, there was the biggest organized strike in the history of humanity. And on that magnificent day, by night, when it reached Spain and Portugal and Italy and Greece, what is happening in Gaza, we saw the placards come out from those European workers on strike, on mass strikes, in solidarity with Gaza. This is the way forward, because it's not only human solidarity in general as something philanthropic, it is because there is an essential feeling that we are all in the fight against one very complex, huge, monstrous enemy, but one, and it's called capitalism and imperialism. And we are all, the working classes and the oppressed people, we are in it, as the Egyptians say, hand in hand. In Egypt, the three most famous, perhaps, and they are definitely the three most important slogans in Egypt, in our revolution, we have produced only one of them. By the way, I have to admit to this. One of them we got from the beautiful Tunisians, because they started it, and the other we got from the Palestinians. And now all of them are being reiterated in Jordan and in Syria. And I would like to end on this note, that the slogan that the Egyptians contributed is bread, freedom, and social justice. And I think all of us in the world can raise this slogan. In the general strikes, we can raise this slogan. In Palestine, we can raise this slogan. But more radical, perhaps, it's a map, for roadmap, is what the Tunisians contributed. Because they said, the people want to bring down the regime. This is the starting place, not the end. Because the inspiration to take along this road, and I think all of us, everywhere, who have to stand against oppression and against capitalism, need to think of ourselves today as Palestinians. We are all Palestinians in this sense, and we should raise the Palestinian slogan that the Egyptians and others took, which is revolution until victory. Thawra, thawra, hatta nasr. Thank you very much.